What's up, subscribers? Sunjutsu here, and today I wanted to go ahead and talk about how we finally come to the ultimate Arcadiation of Total War, meaning that Total War has finally become, at least a part of Total War has finally become almost completely arcadey, and that's not a bad thing in my opinion. I'll go ahead and talk about that here a little bit. But they've come out with this blog talking about how the sieges work and how the new siege AI works. And after reading the entire thing, at first I was alarmed because the first note that they touch on is alarming because it just sounds arcady as fuck. But then when I started thinking about it, I started thinking about sieges in how they've been and how my experiences have been on them. I started thinking this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing, and I'll go ahead and get more into that right now. But they put out this blog about sieges. They've changed their background and their avatar pic on their YouTube page to vampire counts, and there's gonna be more likely a Warhammer Siege. There's gonna be a Warhammer Siege video on Twitch tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a link to both the blog post and their Twitch page in the description below. I'll be able to watch it tomorrow morning because I have to work tonight, and then I'll go ahead and make a review of what I see. I'm excited, but let me go ahead and just dive into the meat of this siege blog post, because this is some crazy stuff, and then I'll go into some of the pictures that it shows. The very first thing that they say, this is what puts you in alarm, but after you think about it and you read the whole thing, in my opinion, it became an enlightenment to me. But you no longer will be able to attack cities from all directions. You'll have, basically, when you attack a city, you'll be put on one side of its walls and you fight for the walls, and I'm assuming like a little bit after that there's the victory point, and that's what you're supposed to gain. So what it seems like they're saying is there's one victory point and there's only that one wall when you attack the city. I'm assuming there's invisible walls blocking you so you won't go further into the city or whatever the case might be. Now I was wondering how they're going to do this, because the cities in Warhammer are so grand and epic and just so fantastical that I was wondering how they're going to do this. But when I think about this, it is alarming, because it's like, what? So they even say it right here. They say that we're not trying to, I know at first it sounds like we're limiting you, or we're lowering your choices or something. Yeah, something like that. But we're actually not. I mean, they are, but I think that this is actually this is what sieges needed. Now, I played tons and tons of sieges in all my Total War games. Some of my favorite ones, actually my favorite ones, were in the early stages of Shogun 2. In the early stages of Shogun 2 and Fall of Samurai, you have a little tiny fortress and you attack it from all sides, and you can actually surround it, and it feels like you have hundreds of men attacking a part of the castle. Now, when you get into the huge castles, huge complexes that you can attack from any side, it really feels like your army is very small. You're attacking only one side of the city, and it makes it seem like it's just so tiny. I don't know what it is, but with Attila it's the same thing. You can attack, I mean, Attila has huge cities as well, but when you're attacking even with a large army, you really only attack one side of the city, and so you're attacking the one side of the city, and it's still, and compared to the rest of the city, it just makes it makes it seem small, and if the AI spreads out, I mean, it just makes the encounters and the siege itself feel very small as well. And this is I've had a problem with sieges for a while now, since the Shogun 2 days, and even I mean, some of my favorite sieges I would say that I've ever had are the ones for Medieval 2 and the ones for Empire, because in my opinion it felt like the fortresses and the castles weren't that big so you could attack it and it seems like your army's huge and you're attacking the city, and it just seems like a huge endeavor. So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so it's everything, all the actions focus in one area. So basically cutting out the middleman, because most people, in my opinion, start on one side of a huge city. They fight on one side of the wall, and they send all their forces into that side. I mean, they might send a few forces around and attack and outflank, but most of the time the forces are on one side of the wall and they're fighting on that side. So they're cutting out the middleman and they're just making it so you can only fight on that one wall. I feel like this is a good idea because it'll make everything very centric, very in one area. Make the action happen vividly in one direction, making it seem bigger even though it is smaller. So, I mean, if that makes sense, those are my thoughts. Now let me jump right in to a little bit more of this. Another thing that they touched on is that the giant creatures, the trolls, the certain giant creatures will be able to destroy city gates like battering rams. That is a good thing. I think that's something that I was hoping that we'd see with Total War Warhammer Sieges, and I'm glad that they actually added it in. I think that in Rome 1 you do have the elephants have the capability of ramming the gate and breaking through it as like a battering ram. They also touch on how you want to get the siege towers for sieges and really not waste time on the ladders, because the ladders it's kind of alluding to telling you that it'll be carnage if you try to use ladders in any type of siege. So that's a good thing too, because I mean, I want to have, when I think of sieges, I think of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Minas Tirith type sieges. That's what I always thought about sieges, and that's what Rome 1 brought when it showed you the towers in the trailer before Rome 1 actually came out. It showed you the siege towers, and you're like, oh shit, I want to get down there and I want to go ahead and put my men through, and it's gonna look so epic and stuff. So I'm glad that they're focusing more on the siege towers than the little ladders, because the little ladders, you do get kind of sucked into those little ladders because you want to take cities quickly most of the time in previous Total War games. At least I did. So now the attacking AI, they reworked the AI to the point where I'm thinking like, okay, I have to see it to believe it. They're saying that the AI, once it attacks you and breaks through your walls, it'll force and put heavy pressure on your victory point. Which, I mean, it doesn't seem like a very hard thing to do, and I'm glad that they took away all the victory points, because I never liked that. I never liked how there were so many. I always liked how in Rome, they're going back to like Rome 1 and medieval, where they only had that one main victory point that you have to take, and it just made it seem so epic in the center. Everything was so centric, and I feel like they kind of pulled away with that by adding many victory points. But the AI will force its way on your victory point. They also said that if you're sieging the AI and you break through the wall, the AI will pull back from the wall, whatever forces they have, and defend the victory point. That's something that I'd like to see, because I mean, I'm hoping that at least they leave a couple of units behind to defend like a rear guard type of thing, where the rest of them can get into place and hold that victory point. But we'll see. This actually brings me up to the other thing that I thought was pretty interesting in this blog. So making use of the centric, only attacking one side of the wall feel of a siege. If the AI is sieging you, they'll have a reserve system. Something I like to do in Total War games, where I don't send everybody in at once. It's basically how a player does it. You send in your forces little by little, trickling in, trying to see where you can break and where you need to add more forces into to hold a line or to break in through a specific point. Or if a unit or enemy unit is about to waver, you want to go ahead and put more pressure on there. Apparently the AI is supposed to be able to do this as well. That's amazing if the AI is going to be working at such a high level, and that makes me feel very good that they're saying this stuff about sieges. I'm hoping that the battle AI also kind of has a similar AI build to it, that it thinks a little bit more strategically. I do like the reserve system in this. It does sound really cool. So the one thing I didn't see in this is how flying units are going to be able to be taking advantage of, or how the armies or the units or the AI or the player can take advantage of flying units. I'm hoping that they're putting a heavy focus on ballista that are on top of the walls or inside the city, things that the defenses of the city. And so I'm hoping that if you have flying units, they could take out some of the ballista and attack them and destroy them. That way, you can have more control over which ballista you can take out. Because if you're just shooting at it with your own type of catapults, your own type of cannons, most of the time you'll run out of ammo before you can destroy as many as you want. While a flying unit can go in, destroy it, fly back out, destroy something else. I'm hoping that they can go ahead and fly in and take out parts of the wall, just completely destroy parts of the wall. They're talking about making the city streets a lot wider. They're a lot wider, so you can kind of have little battles inside the city. I like that. I don't like very skinny streets. I don't like very, very tight streets, in my opinion. I don't really like that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into some of these pictures. The first picture that we saw is just a piece of artwork that looks like the orcs or the greenskins are fighting or sieging a Karak from the dwarves, and you do see some flying units flying in, the gyrocopters, and some of the greenskins flying units. So you have that, and then let's go ahead and see what else we got here. When we have the actual picture, I know the pictures have been rotating, but I want to go ahead and just comment on some of these. The pictures of the greenskins, it looks like they're attacking a vampire count stronghold, maybe. I think so, because I see that giant skull on top of that the corner left. So this could be a vampire count stronghold that the greenskins are just attacking. And to be honest, their army doesn't seem that strong, but again, they could have most of their units inside the towers already. And then you have the last picture, which is I think that same area, because you see the skull in the back. But again, now we're seeing it looks like Empire units. I guess maybe they're Empire units. You see some sorcerers using magic. You see how wide the walls are. I think this is what they're talking about. The walls are huge, and I think that's a great choice to make the walls more the siege battles more centric on one part of the wall and one part of the city, because that way you can focus more on making that part huge, making the walls really wide, the streets really wide, put a lot of detail into it, because you can focus more on that and making it seem like a more grander scale type of thing, like you're attacking this huge city and you're taking it out. So yeah, I think this is an empire empire city, because I don't see any vampires or nothing. I think, is that a blood knight? Is that a blood, what is that? I don't know. They're not colored like they're not colored like the Empire. They have blue on them. I think this is, I'm pretty sure this is an Empire. These are Empire counts. Yeah, I see the flags now. I see the flags. I'm positive this is an Empire count stronghold. So that's pretty cool. I'm hoping we get to see this battle tonight, or I'll see it tomorrow, but hopefully we get to see this tonight, or you guys get to see it and you guys can tell me all about it. But basically, I wanted to make this video, just go ahead and talk about this. I'm pretty sure that this is what we're gonna get tonight. The greenskins versus the vampire counts. The greenskins are just fighting everybody. They just fight anybody who stands in their way. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and see if we can go over 50 likes for the video that's coming out tonight. And let me know all about it, guys. If you guys see it, put it in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about this new siege. Do you guys like the direction that CA has gone with the sieges? I personally do, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know. Let's even get over 50 likes for the siege battle that's coming probably tomorrow. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more of this Total War goodness, this Total War Warhammer goodness, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become a subscriber today. This is going to be Sunjetsu signing off. Alarmed, because the first note that they touch on is alarming, because it just sounds Arcady as fuck. But then when I started thinking about it, I started thinking about sieges in how they've been and how my experiences have been on them. I started thinking, this is not a bad thing. This is a meaning that Total War has finally become, at least a part of Total War has finally become almost completely Arcady, and that's not a bad thing in my opinion. I'll go ahead and talk about that here a little bit, but they've come out with this blog talking about how the sieges work and how the new siege AI works. And after reading the entire thing, at first I was What's up, subscribers? Sunjetsu here, and today I wanted to go ahead and talk about how we finally come to the ultimate Arcadiation of Total War. Post and their Twitch page in the description below. I'll be able to watch it tomorrow morning because I have to work tonight, and then I'll go ahead and make a review of what I see. I'm excited, but let me go ahead and just dive into the meat of this siege blog post, because this This is some crazy stuff. And then I'll go into some of the pictures. Good thing. And I'll go ahead and get more into that right now. But they put out this blog about sieges. They've changed their background and their avatar pic on their YouTube page to vampire counts. And there's going to be more likely a Warhammer Siege. There's going to be a Warhammer Siege video on Twitch tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link to both the blog